Hey guys, what's going on? Absolutely Beast here. You know, I always do these intros the same. I take that back. Hey folks, welcome to my channel. If you found me, thank you for watching. My name is Beast, and I'm going to bring you some awesome gameplay today on the Xbox One X at 4K 60 frames per second with the with Call of Duty World War II. So, I had a video yesterday that I put up, which was from Forza 7. At 4K 60 with the One X, and kind of well received compared to my previous videos that I've been putting up the last little bit. But I'm super excited, guys. The One X is absolutely awesome. It looks great, and I still want to call it Scorpio, honestly. But it looks great, and it's playing the games really great. I can't say that I've noticed really much in the way of like loading time differences or anything like that. They did say that would be a possibility. But everything that I'm playing is on an external drive, and it was on an external drive on the One S. So it's possible that once I move it to the actual hard drive on the One X, that there'll be some performance gain. And also, it's just a style of game, you know. If you were playing like a Fallout or a Skyrim or a game like that, those are games where you'd notice faster loading times. In fact, one of the things that was great about the Skyrim remastered version was that it was much faster at loading. So anyway, so I'm bringing you guys this. I kind of fell out of favor with the game. I decided I didn't really want to keep playing it, the Call of Duty, because it was getting on my nerves a lot, but I've sort of made a change to this FG42 here, and it is ridiculous. I mean, that's what I was using before, but you don't unlock it till like level 45, I want to say. So I was basically just using like a default class, and now that I've unlocked it, I decided to give it a try, and it sort of renewed my sense of wanting to keep playing the game. So one of the things that you notice right off the bat is just the textures. The textures on the gun, in particular, not there, but like if you look at the textures right there, if you look how clean that looks, and how just the sheen and the reflections that pop off of it. Now, I will say this: I've already done a lot of testing with the bit rate on the video, which is basically the quality of the video, and I think I've pretty much maxed out the quality as much as I can get it. Without taking days to render. One of the things I was doing, I was trying a new video format, which is the new version of video format, and it said it was going to take 35 hours to render and encode my video, which is absolutely obscene. So I changed back to the other format, and that fixed the issue. I can even run a really high bitrate, which I'm going to do. But I will say this. It doesn't quite capture all of the 4K. And then, of course, there's YouTube compression where the video's on YouTube and you're watching it, streaming, all that kind of stuff. So it will be, I mean, unfortunately, just due to actual hardware limitations of 4K and software limitations, you won't actually be seeing full 4K as good as it looks on my TV, on my screen in front of me when I'm playing it. So as good as it looks for you guys, you'll be able to tell the difference. Obviously, there's 4 times as much data, 4 times as many pixels as the 1080 videos that I was uploading previously. And we'll get into that a little later in the video. I actually have one of the maps that I played that I really noticed the difference, where I first noticed the difference, actually. I have that video, and I did a couple things. Did some things. I finally actually did some real editing here, and I got a couple screens, and I flipped back and forth between the screen things, and then I resized a couple screenshots so you can actually see the screenshots side by side. But when I first started the game, you know, a game like Forza 7, which again, I put up a video yesterday. If you guys want to see that, I'll actually put a link to that video in the description. But the video I put up yesterday, it seemed, I don't know. The quality seemed pretty good, but, you know, when I watched it back on my computer after editing it and exporting it, it was a little shaky. So just trust me when I say that from what you're seeing on the screen and how much better it looks than a regular Xbox, just imagine it's even that much better to actually see it on the screen in front of you with no delay, no compression, no anything like that. It's just box to TV, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't quite get about the resolution and the 4K and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it looks good. It doesn't quite... It doesn't look as good as the difference between, like, standard def and high def. For example, 480p, which is standard definition, and 720p. The difference between those is pretty significant. I would say it's similar to that. There's really... I mean, so at first, when I was playing this game, so like Forza 7, they had a texture pack. Now, of course, they have 700 plus cars, so there's a lot of cars in there, but they had a texture pack that you were going to download to be Xbox One X Enhanced, which is what they did. And so when you download that, that's like a 40 gigabyte pack. So that was a huge pack, which is just all loaded with 4K texture so that the game can actually play in real 4K. And now the other issue, the other issue for me is that while I've been playing on a 1S, I've been playing on my 4K TV already, so the 1S is actually upscaling everything from 1080p to 4K. So what I'm seeing is not just the difference between 1080p and 4K. What I'm seeing is the difference between 1080p upscaled to 4K and real 4K, which, again, it's real muddy because there's so many different standards, and you know, there's different, by the way, the pistols in this game are terrible. I have the M1911, which I thought would be the best, and it's just, it's so bad. So I might have to switch back to whatever that other pistol was. It's like a P08 or something like that, which is, I'm pretty sure it's like a Walter pistol, like a German-style pistol, like a Luger. So yeah, so, you know, you had to download that huge texture pack, and that basically makes all the assets 4K, so the cars are actually rendered in 4K and stuff like that, so they look sharper, or more sharp. So for that game, it was pretty obvious. Now for Call of Duty, I've been checking for the last 2 weeks, since I've been able to download the 4K content, I've been checking, and there was no actual way for me, P08 right there, that's the one I should switch to. There's no actual download, there's no update that's been popping up, so I figured, you know, maybe they weren't doing it. You know, Call of Duty has an exclusive deal with PlayStation for their DLC first and that kind of stuff, so I can understand why they wouldn't want it to look as incredible on the Xbox, so I just thought about that. But the real thing turned out to be that when I started Call of Duty, same 50, so Forza was 60 gigs, I think, and then the texture pack was 40 gigs, so it's 100 gigs. And Call of Duty was 54 gigs, and that was my first kill with this gun. So Call of Duty was 54 gigs, and there was never any update for me this second time around. So I just got on the game, I started playing, and after a second it said there's an update available, and it restarted the game. It didn't download any sort of update. It's just like a weird in-game update that says your game needs to restart to take, you know, advantage of this update. And then the game doesn't even fully quit and restart. It just sort of like takes 10 seconds, and then it's like, okay, update applied. And so I thought, well, okay, that's interesting. And then I started playing, and the first thing I did was I went into the headquarters, which is like the, you know, the screen that you get to sit at when you're waiting for a multiplayer match, when you want to, like, it's basically the tower from Destiny, so it's a social area. Apparently there's been some issues. I've never actually seen anybody else in the tower that wasn't a friend that I invited, and apparently that's an issue that people have been having, so that's a thing. But you can actually go into the headquarters, like, right now, in between matches, and you see, you press start right there, and you go into the headquarters, and you can actually just check out different type of stuff. So in this case, though, I will show you what I see when I go into the headquarters, and so it just seemed clearer to me. I mentioned in my video yesterday that those of you who there's two analogies I'll use. First one is those of you who have played like Destiny versus Call of Duty. Destiny is a 30 frames per second game, and Call of Duty is 60, so there's twice as many frames. So motion and just the general moving and looking around in the game is actually smoother on Call of Duty than it is on Destiny, and that's because there's literally twice as many frames. So it spreads it out a little bit better, and it looks a little bit smoother. Just a little bit clearer, like the clarity is better, and that's the first thing I noticed when I went to the headquarters. I was walking around, and I turned around and flipped to 180, and I thought, wow, that looks really nice, and it looks really clear. And so I couldn't quite, I thought, okay, it looks like there might be some sort of update. Maybe I'm just seeing things better on the 1X now that I'm looking for it. But it seemed like everything was looking better, and so I'll show you that headquarters thing here in a second. But this map right here was the first one that I noticed. So when I was playing, you'll actually see what I do here. So when I was playing on the 1S, this map looked terrible, and I mean terrible. And if those of you guys who were playing on a 1080p, you'll know what I'm talking about, and I'll show you right here. So I walk up that ladder up to my right at about my 1 o'clock. When I get up there, you'll see this is my real reaction in-game. This is like the second game I played. And I walk up there, and I go, what? And look, I stop and go, what? And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So then I start looking around at everything. And I realize right here that there actually was a 4K upgrade. So just check this out. So this right here, this is the Xbox One version. So I had 1S. So I had to blow this up so it looks a little bit worse. But look at all that unbelievable terrible texture filtering. Look at that. It looks absolutely terrible. I'll show you again. This is the 1X. So much better. None of that crap that's like filtering up. None of that just unbelievable like garbage flickering. That's such an issue on the other one. So this is a screenshot. Look at this back and forth. X, S, X, S. Then you'll see right here. Look at this. Look at the difference. Look at all that texture crappiness on the right. Look at all that just shading that looks all wrong. And look at the left, just totally smooth. And I couldn't believe it. It looks so good. So again, excuse the terrible editing. That's really my first attempt to actually do a real edit of anything. So right here, I started looking around. And I realized, like, if you're looking at my helmet, you can actually see the flecks and imperfections of the paint of the helmet. If you're looking at it right there, the way the way the light is sheening off that helmet, you can literally see that. And just the clarity of everything. You can see the reflections on the water. It just looks so much cleaner. And this headquarters thing was first, and this is why I stopped. Because I stopped right here, and I just froze, and I was like, dude, I gotta be looking at something right here, right? Like, I'm not just imagining this. Anyway, so I'm going back to the game here. So I thought, man, I can't just be imagining this, right? Like, this looks so good. And so then I started playing, and I thought, like, okay, like, you know, it looks okay. I played that match at the beginning of this video on Aachen, and I was just like, yeah, I mean, you know, it looks okay. It looks pretty good. And then so here I'm looking at the smoke on the left there, and looking around at the different smokes, because the smoke looked horrible. I couldn't actually find a clip of me looking at the smoke in 1080p, but, I mean, guys, seriously, like, look at the deck. I mean, look at the water and the reflections on the deck, and just look at the textures. I think later in this match, I actually look at like a fire hose texture up against that same ladder. But just, it was so incredible. Like I mean, it's one of those things where I didn't notice it at first, and I was kind of mad at myself for not noticing it once I noticed that it looked like this. Now, this gun right here, the BAR, is incredible. This was the gun I started using. I just got to be able to, I'm about to be able to prestige here in like an hour and a half probably after I eat. I picked this thing up in this game, and I was just like, dude, are you serious on how good this gun is? Like, it's so ridiculous. Look at that thing. Listen to that sound. That sounds like a proper weapon, if I do say so myself. Check this out. Listen to this. Oh, come on. Not gonna shoot. Alright, listen to this. That is so ridiculous. So anyway, man, I mean, I'm so impressed with the 1X. I wouldn't say it's a subtle difference, but I would say if you're not looking for it, you may not notice it. But the clarity of everything is incredible. Just the overall just sharpness of the picture and the clarity of everything is just really impressive. And, you know, that's what they were looking for with the 1X. I know they were. That's what they're striving for. And you'll see me do it again here, I think. I can't believe how good it looks. I'm just like, dude, look at this. Like, I was just blown away by how good it looks. Because it's just so incredible. Like, I mean, again, even look at, like, the magazine out of the gun. You can see the texture of the paint on there. I mean, sure, there's reflections and stuff. Like, again, I'm just looking at all the graphics. You can see the texture on the magazine of the gun. You can see, like, and even, you know, like seeing a piece of metal or something that's painted, you can see there's like an actual texture on that, which is so incredible. And then again, I'm just looking at all the smoke. You can see, like, along the deck, you can see, like, the water space reflections that are coming up, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just so impressive. And, you know, it's one of those things, like, now that I go back, now that I've looked back at the other 1080 footage, like, earlier from this, I thought, how could I, you know, I mean, I don't think, how could people be playing on that? Now, that's what, look at that guy's name, dude. Luis from Target. That is so funny, man. I saw that, and I was laughing so hard, and I said something to him about it, but he didn't respond, and I thought it was just so funny. Look at this. Again, I'm just so impressed with it. And this was when I noticed the deck right here. I was like, dude, look at the deck. So, I mean, this is just a real good way for me to just showcase you. And I mean, like I said, this was just like in-game. I was just playing a game, and look at, you know, it's a closed game, and I'm just like, wow, dude. Look at the texture on that. Look at the texture on the paint. Look at each individual fleck on those fire hoses. I mean, look at just, it's just so ridiculous. You know, not on that side, but like on the inside of the fire hose. It's just incredible. And to look at that and just see how much detail there is. I mean, these are details that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. And also the other thing, like on all the stairs, like you see how there's that yellow bar at the top of the stairs, the yellow paint, just like a caution warning. All that was all jaggy too. There was just some shading issues and some shadowing issues where it was just, you know, being real weird. anyway, really impressive stuff. I'm super excited. Again, it's unfortunate that due to lots of limitations, I'm not, you know, now let me take that back. You know, if I play this at a super high bitrate for you guys, which I'm going to do, you can see how good it looks. And you'll be able to see the stuff that I'm talking about. But in the video I put up yesterday on Forza, it was a little bit different. So I'm really trying to experiment around with this. And basically, it's a limitation of the recording itself on the Xbox One X. The bitrate on there is not as high as what I could do on here. So it's not going to look any better no matter how high I crank it. But it looks incredible. I'm super thrilled with the game. Call of Duty is super fun. And again, I'm just looking at the deck. I mean, seriously, guys, like, my reaction that I'm having right now is like the same reaction I was having while I was in game. Like, every time I spawn, I was just like, look at that, dude. And again, before this, I was a little unsure because there was an update and things looked slightly better, but I couldn't quite tell. I mean, I'm new to the game. I've only got like 24 hours probably in the game, 25 hours in the game. So I'm still new to the game and learning the game. See, like right there on the edge of the stairs, on the 1S version, it was real jaggy and there was lots of shading issues and just, you know, like loss of actual texture, which is real weird. But this 1X version looks incredible. I mean, look at that to my left. I never even noticed that before, but look at all that. And look at, I mean, like, look at the, you can see the textures on the wall. You can see the textures on the floor. And I don't mean textures like, oh, you know, there's a surface on there. I mean, like, you can see it's like, there's like individual, like, you know, just individually rendered pieces of like individual small little paint flecks and paint textures. Like, it's incredible. And yeah, it's just super impressive. I've really been enjoying the game. And at this point, once I realized what the update was, ever since then, I've just been absolutely studying everything. Just studying like this. I think I'm going to look at this writing here to my left in a second, which is one of the things I did while I was sitting here too. Maybe I'll do it the next time. But one of these times I like come up to this thing and I'm like, dude, look at this writing here. Like, I mean, you can see all the rivets, you can see all the bullet holes. I mean, that's pretty standard, but like this, look at this. I'm like, dude, oh, no, I didn't do it right there. There's just so much detail, and it's a lot of small details that, you know, could possibly go unnoticed. Again, here, look at this. Like, look at that. I mean, obviously that's meant to be faded, but like, look at that. You can read all that small text extremely clearly. And you can see, again, look at the textures of the paint. You can see little individual chips of the finish on the bolts. I mean, it's absolutely incredible, guys. It's absolutely incredible. This console is really something. I have to be honest, I was actually kind of not hesitant. I was still going to buy it, but like yesterday, I even said the words out loud, like, why am I actually even buying this console? Like, I'm not enjoying Call of Duty very much, and, you know, why am I even buying it? I am so mad at myself for thinking that. This console is epic. Epic. Absolutely epic. Just the look of it and the everything is just so incredible. So, make sure you guys check back soon. I'm going to have another video coming up soon. I don't know what it'll be, but like I said, I'll link the Forza video in the description. So you guys can check that out. And thank you guys for being here. Make sure you subscribe if you like my content. Plenty more to come. And I will see you another time. Seriously, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.